We're on our way to our fifth and final safari camp of this trip, Chiawa. From Puku Ridge, we drive back to Mafui and fly to Royal Airstrip, where our guide Moses picks us up. We're entering Lower Zambezi National Park. Before being established as a national park in 1983, it was the private game reserve of Zambia's president. The park sits on the northern bank of the Zambezi River. On the opposite bank is Zimbabwe's Mana Pools National Park. Together, they've been named a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The park gently slopes from the Zambezi Escarpment down to the river. There are three ecosystems in the park. The Mopani woodlands consists of grasslands and scrublands inland from the river. Backwaters mark the low areas of the Zambezi floodplain. The grassy floodplain is filled with grazers and waterfowl. The winterthorn tree is a pioneer tree in the floodplain, the first to take root in the sandy soil. The river is filled with grassy islands where elephants and waterbirds forage. Hippos spend their days resting in the vegetation and then graze on the islands at night. Between the park gate and the Chiawa Camp, we happened on an unusual sight: vultures scavenging a hyena carcass, which was probably severely injured by lions and died in this stream. Now the scavengers are waiting their turn at the carcass. There are white-backed vultures and a lapid-faced vulture, and a marabou stork awaiting his turn. Not far from the hyena, waterbirds are feeding. Then we arrive at Chiawa Camp. We're in leopard tent. It's a real tent built on a platform. We have a nice deck with a hammock, and it all looks out toward the river. But we were warned that we should expect visitors. The elephants love the seeds of the winterthorn. Inside, we have all the comforts of home, including a clawfoot bathtub, a king-size bed with mosquito netting, and a comfortable couch with a nice view. Every dinner begins with an enthusiastic performance by the Chiawa Choir. And what follows is a tasty and artfully presented dinner. The chef especially prided himself on his soups, and rightfully so. Main courses were tasty as well as beautiful. They always had a tasty and healthy vegetarian selection on the menu. And then came dessert. We usually passed on brunch after the morning game drive, but on our last day, the staff prevailed and served us brunch on the deck of our tent. It was a very nice English breakfast, but more food than we needed. A highlight of our stay at Chiawa were the river safaris. It's an opportunity to get up close to the animals who live on the islands in the Zambezi. Some are very large. The old bull elephants enjoy a solitary life, grazing on the reeds of the islands. And some are very small. Be forewarned, there are a lot of bugs on the river. But that means there are plenty of insect-eating birds, like the bee eaters. While the bee eaters hunt insects on the wing, the white-crowned lapwing forages for insects and the occasional frog or small fish. The jacana uses its huge feet to walk over the vegetation in search of insects and snails. The appropriately named pied wagtail will catch insects in the air or forage for them on the ground. Masked weaver will also hunt on the fly or forage on the ground. The water thickney forages at the water's edge for insects and snails. The river fish also eat the bugs, and many birds eat the fish. Just like the insectivores, they use many different strategies. The great egret is one of the most elegant of the wading birds. Egrets are not the only birds using this strategy. Its larger cousin, the Goliath heron, is here too. The stork family is represented by the yellow-billed stork and the African openbill, whose unusual bill has evolved to catch and open snails and other mollusks. Glossy ibis uses its slender beak to probe for mussels, insects, and crustaceans. The kingfishers have perfected the dive strategy, hovering above the water, then going in a vertical dive to strike their prey. The giant kingfisher is the largest kingfisher in Africa. The African darter has a completely different diving strategy. It swims partially submerged and catches the fish underwater. The king of the fish-eating birds has to be the African fish eagle, who swoops down on his prey and snatches it from the water. We're left with a couple of foragers who prefer to graze for seeds and aquatic plants. The spur-winged goose is the largest waterfowl in Africa. Egyptian goose has a similar diet and behavior. On your river safari, it's hard to miss the solitary bull elephants grazing on the sedges and other aquatic plants on the islands in the middle of the river. Birds will follow the elephants to feed on the insects they stir up, and kingfishers will perch on the backs, looking for fish. We also see occasional families of elephants along the river's edge. It's always fun to watch the baby elephants playing in the water. We thought we were going to see a confrontation as these two old bulls addressed each other. But it turns out they were old friends and they walked off together. Hippos are a challenge for our boatmen. They can surface anywhere and potentially capsize the boat. Every year after the rainy season, the Zambezi's water level rises and floods the flat plain along the river. When the water recedes, many pools and bogs are left, and the elephants love it. They feast on the water hyacinths that grow in abundance. The warthogs get down on their knees to forage for roots and tubers in the soft ground. Baboons join the warthogs to search for anything edible, including insects, seeds, flowers, roots, and tubers. Impala graze on the newly sprouted sweet grass. is a perfect environment for a new set of birds, like this saddle-billed stork. The rufous-bellied heron is hunting for aquatic insects and invertebrates. The environment is perfect for foragers like the Egyptian goose. We saw the glossy ibis in the shallows at the river edge. The jacana is here too, using its huge feet to walk on the water hyacinths in search of bugs. Another well-named bird, the black-winged stilt, with its long, skinny red legs. I don't think we've seen the black heron before. We spotted the king of beasts resting in the tall grass. We thought there was only one lion, but then there were two. Brothers, no doubt. It was either too hot, or he was bothered by us tourists, or wanted to see if we smelled good enough to eat. Then the brother lion decided to give us the once-over too. The first brother had just found a perfect place to nap. It just fit. Then his brother shows up. In the Mopani forest, we got lessons on trees and plants from our guide Moses. The low bare bushes around the baobab are Mopani. Mopani lose their leaves as the dry season starts in May, and new leaves will appear in October as the rains return. The forest was blooming while we were there. Mahogany flowers have a very pleasant, perfumey scent. Some trees are not meant to be climbed. The winter thorn grows all over the park. Its seed pods are a favorite with the elephants. The forest is home to another set of birds. The sunbird is Africa's answer to our hummingbirds. Every night, we went out on a night drive looking for the animals on the night shift. This leopard was not happy that we woke him up. It's been a great trip. Cape Town plus 5 different camps in 3 different countries. At Royal Airstrip, our pilots Cameron and Sam are waiting for us with the King Air. They've made all this flying between camps and countries relatively painless. Now we have one last flight with them to Lusaka. From Lusaka, we'll be flying Emirates home to Seattle via Dubai. We hope you've enjoyed this video. Here's a link to the playlist of all our stops on our 2025 African adventures.